What's going on, Guardians? It's Tizzle here. In this video, I'm going to be going over everything you need to know about the new weapon perk Focus Fury. This perk states that dealing half of the magazine as precision damage grants this weapon bonus damage. The shot count is reset whenever the weapon is reloaded or stowed. Now, the RNG gods really blessed me for the making of this video, as I think I have pretty much every role of this perk that you would be curious about. I have two crates, one with overflow and one with subsistence. I have a hand cannon with a mag increasing perk, and I even have a sniper rifle with 4 shots in the mag, and with backup mag we can take it to 5 to see when it procs on a magazine with an odd number in the mag. We'll answer all those questions throughout the video, but first, let's look at exactly how the perk works. Take our hand cannon with 10 in the mag for instance. If we get 5 precision shots in that mag before reloading or stowing the weapon, then we'll proc Focus Fury. We can stow the weapon after it is procced, and we will still have the bonus damage. This bonus damage is a 20% buff that lasts for 10 seconds. So it is not a super high damage buff, but it is fairly easy to proc consistently just for playing how you would normally play. This perk is not great for compulsive reloaders, however. And speaking of that, I have 2 weapons with the compulsive reloader perk and Focus Fury. These work opposite to each other, so that is not really a role that you want. However, a couple roles that you do want are Subsistence Focus Fury and Overflow Focus Fury. Subsistence is amazing with it because it still thinks it only has a magazine of 53. Even though it is being reloaded on kills. I was able to proc Focus Fury while still having 45 bullets in the magazine. That is amazing synergy because you are just mowing through ads and constantly re-procking Focus Fury. That's another thing, this perk can re-proc while still up, so it works like Rampage in that regard, where something like One For All can't. So even though One For All gives a higher damage boost and is easier to proc in my opinion, this perk can have a lot higher uptime, and it is much better for single target damage. You will have 20% extra damage on high health targets pretty much constantly. Think like the Walker on Exodus Crash. There's not a ton of enemies around to proc something like One For All or Rampage or Kill Clip, but Focus Fury will proc just by shooting the Walker's crits. So next, let's look at Overflow on this gun, as that overfills the magazine. Luckily, it does not take 50 some shots to proc when it's active. I proc the perk around 67 in the mag, so that was about 40 shots and I missed some crits. So it's good to know you aren't getting screwed over by Overflow. This could actually be a really good roll. Looking at the weapon perks on Crate, I would say the 2 best pairings for this would be Overflow and Subsistence. Next, let's look at what happens if we increase the magazine. Our hand cannon only holds 10 shots with steady rounds, but we go up to 12 with appended mag. Sadly, the game is smart at math and it now takes 6 shots to proc Focus Fury instead of 5. And if we put a backup mag on to take the mag to 14, it brings the crit total up to 7 to proc Focus Fury. So you can't cheat the system with backup mag, only Overflow and Subsistence. Lastly, let's look at what happens when you have an odd number of bullets in your magazine. This sniper rifle has 4 at base, but with backup mag we can take it to 5. Unfortunately, it rounds up. So 2.5 is half of the magazine, meaning it takes 3 shots to proc the perk. But when we go back down to 4 shots, it only takes 2. That is pretty much everything you need to know about the perk Focus Fury. I think it could be a really awesome perk. It lasts a long time and can re-proc itself, but sadly for scout rifle like Percy's D, if you're using it for anti-barrier, you can't hit crits on anti-barrier knights when their shield is up. And we'll be fighting a lot of those in the Grandmasters this season, so that makes this perk a little less desirable. That is the biggest downfall to this weapon. If you're fighting enemies like Shanks which have no crit, then you are kind of screwed. But outside of those cases where enemies lack a crit, this is still a very good perk and you may really end up liking it. I like how easy it is to proc. In Grandmasters I switched to One For All from Rampage on my Palindrome because you cannot chain kills too easily, and while this perk doesn't have the same damage buff as One For All, it makes up for it by proccing way more frequently and can be chained like Rampage. I'm glad I hung on to some of these rolls for testing because now I know it is actually a pretty good perk. Anyways, that's it. If you enjoyed the video or found it helpful, consider subscribing as it really helps the channel. Happy God roll hunting, and take care.